I started working in a cheesecake factory as a waitress in
No
Dubai,
way, that's
and
amazing.
yeah,
You're Penny
I was
from Big
literally
Bang
called
Theory.
Penny. Yes, I was literally called Penny for the longest
That's
time.
amazing.
Because at the end of the day, if you're constantly putting on a face and constantly trying to be this other persona, it's very, very difficult to upkeep that. I love meeting the people that I interact with on the daily. I love being able to put a face to the name, to the people that I'm speaking to. I love being able to connect with people
Why you
that
bullying me?
wasn't involved.
Everybody asking, dude. Why you bullying me? A bit of a turning of a heel on it, which I think is a really good thing, because you could be competing against Homie the one day, and a month later you could end up on the same team.
I ended up driving into a wall, didn't have my safety belt on, so I just shot through the window. We ended up getting caught, and I still have the photo somewhere on my PC of me and Layla sitting in the jail cells, just with little peace signs and laughing our asses off.
Good aftermorning. Welcome to the Who Is podcast here on Tortoise Tech, episode 4, with the one and only Slime Moist of the Mooses, one, in my opinion, of the funniest South African streamers. I have laughed proper watching South African streamers like twice. One was Henny playing Chaos Mod on GDA, which was a wealth of lols, and the other was watching Slime over here just on the introduction of Skyrim, not even getting into the main game, just tackling the first large spider was a feast of lols, because I think of mild arachnophobia as well from your end, which does kick things in. But hopefully, throughout this podcast, we will be able to answer the question of who is Slimy Moose. Slimy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you, homie.
It's so cool to, like I said to Layla and Carlo, especially, it was so funny how it worked out. I found Carlo through Krim because of Tarkov, because once you're in the same trenches suffering the same fate continuously in Tarkov, you tend to band together, you understand the pain.
Yep.
And then he got you into Tarkov, right? Because you had never played before, obviously
Never.
becoming
I
friends with
never
him.
played any extraction shooter before Kylo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you equally felt the pain of the destruction dome that really is Tarkov. It's basically, for those of you who maybe are uninitiated, it's literally Dark Souls shooter. I think that's a fair way to kind of sum it up, right? Like, and
Yeah,
with
100%.
multiplayer
Mm,
elements intertwined into that.
mm.
But let's go back to the beginning. Where did our wonderful Slime Moist Moose grow up?
In PTA Centurion, I was a Durincliffe girl, and yeah, I don't remember much of my time before we moved from South Africa to Dubai. I think most of what I remember was just mainly seeing family and just yeah, even the schools that I've been in, very, very vague memories of just like the interactions that I had. I remember more what happened in Dubai. So I've moved when I was like 8.
Okay, so
Um,
early.
yeah, so it was very early on, and the reasons why I moved was my dad. He was in the industry of he had connections within this one country called Mars GCC, and had the opportunity to be a factory director in Dubai, and it was an absolutely amazing opportunity for him, and gave so many different opportunities to us as a family as well. Like I'm so grateful to. I've been talking about this recently. It really was an eye opener for me because Dubai is such a variety in the sense variety it has variety in the sense of just how many different cultures there are, how many different people there are, and it's amazing to see how with that many nationalities how open-minded people can be and how self-aware people can be. So I got to learn a lot in Dubai that I feel like I wouldn't have been able to in SA. But yeah, that being said, like I still was able to come back to South Africa to see family, when we did end up having to come back, I didn't necessarily like make any friends. I was quite shy when I would come back to SA. I don't know
Hard to
why,
believe.
but I was. And it's so strange because like from people that know me from when I was in Dubai, know me as a complete extrovert. Like I would be going out every single weekend, just doing something, either going to the mall, going to a friend's house, going to a party, or literally just walking around Dubai, listening to music and just lumming. Honestly, Dubai was such an amazing experience, and I miss it so freaking much that I don't think anyone can understand it.
So you
But
obviously
I
don't have an issue with sand.
no, don't
No,
have an issue
because
with sand. Neither heats. Neither heats. Dubai, Haibo. Nah, like for those of for those of you that have ever had a layover in Dubai or been in Dubai just for a small amount of time, you guys know that the whole analogy behind, it feels like you're opening an oven door. That's literally Dubai. You don't spend much of your time outside. You spend a lot of it inside because a lot of just the infrastructure of Dubai, every single building has aircon and every single building caters to the vicious heat there. But yeah, coming from a country that worked and actually put their people first to a country where people would rather line their own pockets than care about the basic necessities of people, it's thrown me off completely. I feel like my whole life has been thrown on its head for so many different reasons. Um, but through it all, there's not much you can do other than just push through. Um, at the end of the day, I can't necessarily change my situation at this point in time. There's no point in bitching about it because, yeah, I can't really do anything about it now. All I can do is plan to get out and make that money accordingly to be able to, move on and to start a new adventure.
so when did you in sync and say Dubai bye bye?
In 2018, it wasn't necessarily that it was like up to me or anything. If it was up to me, I would have loved to stay and be able to finish my schooling. That was the main thing for me. Just because I've heard from people and from my cousins that were doing schooling here that the schooling in SA is just not up to par. It's completely below standard and like they don't care. And it was evident when I moved because in Dubai, the schooling there. So a lot of people know I suffer with ADHD and dyslexia, so I struggle to read a lot of the times, and my brain is everywhere, nowhere, all at once. And in Dubai, they had options and ways to cater for people that needed extra help and needed extra time for tests and whatnot. I'm aware that South Africa also has this, but at the time that I moved in 2018, there was a lot happening in my family that I just didn't end up getting that type of help. So in the end, I never actually ended up getting my matric because I kept getting f***ed over by the schools that I was in. Um, in 2018 specifically, that was probably like the worst year for me. Obviously, there were gems within it, but it was a very, very tough time for me in the sense of like my parents weren't doing well. I was begging them to get a divorce, and plus school with all the cliquey people and people that just would wake up and choose violence and tune you for no reason. I actually tell you a funny story. The first, not even the first week that I came back to SA, I wanted to go to the specific school, and I had enrolled too late, so I ended up only coming in a week after everyone had already like started.
Okay.
Little did I know that there was already people speaking about me, creating rumors and nonsense. And I think the second day that I got to that school, and that was like after a week of not being there, I get pulled into the vice principal's class, office, whatever you want to call it. She basically says she's been hearing these rumors going around and she wants to know why I have started this. And first of all, I was like, I don't know what rumors you're talking about. And there was another teacher within the room, and it literally looks like they're about to me out. And I just tell them straight, like, listen, I don't know what has been said, but this is not me. I'm new. Why the fuck would I want to cause stuff as I'm getting into a school? And the rumor was that I was sleeping with a business teacher that I didn't even know. I didn't know any of these people from like anything. They didn't know me. They've just seen photos and had a whole bunch of chats behind her back and just resulted to, oh yeah, she's whatever you want to call it. And just like that built up. And over the years, like over the year, there was so much other nonsense that I just couldn't keep up with. So with being in Dubai as well, I didn't necessarily learn too many languages. I tried to do French and I tried to do Spanish, but I've also been in 10 different schools, so it was difficult jumping from one thing to the next.
10 different schools. That is
I've been in-
crazy. That's like
I've been in
basically a
Germany.
school like every 14 months on average.
Yeah,
Basically.
yeah.
That's wild. Okay.
Yeah, I've met so many people. I will always say, like, people fascinate me, but they also scare me. I enjoy seeing how people interact and how people are when they think no one's necessarily looking. It sounds weird, but I like to see how people interact and how people are, because it can tell me a lot about how that person is just in general. I like to be able to see how a person is before I like bring them into my circle, because there's been so many people that just take advantage of just me being nice. With being in 10 different schools, I've met so many different people. There are just so many ways people can use you and abuse you, and you don't even realize it. But
Oh, that's wild.
overall, I hated school. I absolutely hated school.
I was also
I
not a
got
fan. I'll be real.
bullied. I was literally the skinny white chick from Africa that everyone was like, "But why are you white?" It was the most annoying ever, and always with the Americans. They'd say, "Oh, do you have a lion that you ride to school?" And I'd be like, "Nah, I've got a zebra named Ziggy, bruh. He's the And they're like, "Wow, that's so cool."
People don't understand how real that is. The first time I actually bought this jacket, because this is an NFL Steelers jacket in New York, from the Foot Locker in New York. And one of the taxi drivers that we had there, it's not like a traditional South African taxi, which is like 16. It's a normal yellow, like Crown Vic cab. And we jumped in and we said, and he was like, "That's an interesting accent. Where are you guys from?" And then we said, "No, South Africa." And he's like, "Bro, because all they see is like plastered Kruger Park, like kind of imagery and stuff, and they literally think that. That's not even a joke." Because I convinced homie that I had a giraffe, and that was my mode of transport, my chosen mode of transport, because homie's got a long neck, so he can reach the fruit at the top of the tree for me and stuff. You know, I like sold him this whole.
I love it. Some people can be so gullible. Oh my goodness,
But
genuinely.
I think people think that that's an exaggeration, but it's legitimately what they believe. On the other note, how pale is your pale? Like, are you see through like me, or is that like, yeah, okay, you also see through? Okay, so
I think
Dubai.
in high school, I'd stand next to a white wall, and my friends would be like, "Where's Danny? Where is she?" I'd be like, "Oh, there. Thanks, man.
Blink twice if you're with us, kind of.
Literally, no." But no, it's difficult, especially like as much as I say that with all the different cultures and stuff, you're still gonna have your hands at the end of the day. I've met so many interesting people that I genuinely would not necessarily want to be around with again, because it's just, yeah, the shit that they involve themselves with, the shit that they say and do is just very dodge. But then again, you get that everywhere.
Yeah. I'm sure you've experienced enough of that in the gaming community as well. But I just wanna finish off on that. Was the 10 schools that you went to within Dubai, or was it between South Africa and
Overall.
Dubai?
Overall. So I was in 3 different schools in South Africa in the beginning. And then when we went to Dubai, it was around 4 schools. Was GEMS Wellington, GEMS World Academy, Regent, and then GEMS Wayne. And then in SA, after we came back in 2018, I went from Pekinwood, the private school, to two different homeschools. One was a Plaas homeschool. It was literally just little plots with some buildings on a game reserve. I'd literally just be driving in the mornings, and there's like lions and leopards. It was beautiful. I loved that place.
Sounds like a vibe, actually. That
And
sounds
then
pretty cool.
the last homeschooling place that I went with ended up me harder than every other place, because that's the last school that I really tried, because I wasn't necessarily interacting with people. It was, I had my work, I could focus, I could do it myself, kind of a thing. And the reason why I didn't end up getting my matric for it was because this institution that I did my art through, and yeah, they asked for all of my art throughout the year, so I sent it all to them. And then I only found out when I received my report that I was meant to send it in, but the school hadn't sent anything back to me, and ended up saying, oh, they had actually lost it. So with that all being said, they just me and said, oh, wait, it's your problem though. And I just had to accept it, couldn't really do anything about it, couldn't sue them or anything. I could have at the time, but yeah, I didn't have the support for it there financially for it.
And it's always just
But
such
yeah,
a time-consuming process as
the thing is,
well.
I did
Like,
Cambridge. I did Cambridge. So with Cambridge
okay,
specifically, when you do A levels, you have that year and that year alone. So you have 2 years to do your GCSEs and then your A levels. If I were to redo school there, I'd have to redo my entire 2 years. And at that point in my life, I was not ready to go through all of that again, especially having support from my parents when they just weren't necessarily there. They just would see the results and be like, oh, hey, Shap, you're doing great. Other than that, like it really took such a toll on me. That's why I never really went back into it. Of course, every now and again, I think about doing a GED or something like that. But at the end of the day, it's more the financials that fuck me over more than anything. Like, I would love to get my matric, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, sure, our country and our world is moving more towards having experience, but then again, an employer's not going to look at your CV once if he doesn't even see something like a matric. It can be really, really demotivating at times.
so yeah, I was actually gonna ask, have you considered doing the Good Enough diploma? I love that as a nickname for it, because it's funny. I learned that actually from Chris Rock. He's like, I got my GED, my Good Enough diploma, like
I
kind
love
of,
it.
which is, I mean, yeah, it does help. I think that's, like you say, is a really necessary base. I mean, I built my career in sales and marketing off of that and a sales consultancy course from Boston, like a 1 year diploma. It wasn't really, it gave me some cool insights and stuff. But yeah, I had the last of the classic old, before objectives based education came in, the OBE rubbish, which my mom's been a teacher for 40 years, and she'll tell you that is probably the worst education system ever devised. And I got the last of the old matric where people still knew what it was, and I got a varsity exemption, and I could go do BSc or engineering. I just scraped it, just to be clear. Okay, I also didn't enjoy school.
No, but still,
But yeah,
you made it
but
through
it's
at the end of the
something.
day.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's there. So it's like, yeah, I completely understand that, because they want to know, are you like at least semi bilingual? Do you understand a bit of Afrikaans? Or how's your English? Can you write an email like in a corporate sort of or business style or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that being said, right, I started working when I was 17. I started working in a cheesecake factory as a waitress in
No
Dubai,
way. That's
and
amazing.
yeah,
You're Penny
I was
from Big
literally
Bang
called
Theory.
Penny. Yes, I was literally called Penny for the longest
That's
time,
amazing.
and especially with my blonde hair, I just fit. It literally just fit. So, like, I started working when I was quite young, and I have accumulated quite a lot of work experience over the years. So I'd hope that people would rather see, okay, yeah, sure, she might not have a matric, but look at her 4 years of experience in marketing, her dedication and on top of that marketing, she did bartending and baristering and all these like different things that I went into. I have qualifications for being a yoga teacher. I had an opportunity to go overseas to do yachting, but unfortunately COVID that up because yeah, financials at the end of the day.
Yeah,
But yeah,
COVID
like
was a bitch with that.
it's not necessarily that I just sat on my ass, played games, and did all with my life. I genuinely tried to do something with my time because I'm also the type of person like if I sit still for too long, my brain will go crazy. I'm like my mom. I can't. I need something to be doing constantly to feel like I'm doing something in this world.
Mm.
And I feel like with streaming, that has given me the opportunity because even when I'm not streaming, I'm either in someone else's chat or helping someone else with whatever they want to do for their streams, or I'm making overlays for someone, or I'm doing my own emotes. So streaming has really given me like that purpose of like feeling like I'm doing something and being good at something per
Mm.
se. Um,
Nice creative
but
outlet
yeah.
as well, right?
It is. It very much is, especially because like I'll tell this to everyone. Twitch, there's so many people, so many different channels and stuff. If someone doesn't like your content, there's so many different accounts that you can go and look at.
Mm.
So rather make your community safe for you and safe for you to be able to click that start button because at the end of the day, if you're constantly putting on a face and constantly trying to be this other persona, it's very, very difficult to upkeep that every single time.
Mm.
But that's why I've always just tried staying true to myself and staying true to what I like and what I have going on in my life. Because I understand that if people like what they see, they'll stay. There's no point in begging people. And this is what I hate about a lot of channels that like cause drama and drama only lasts for so long. Genuinely, it only lasts for so long, and if you're trying to ride a wave of drama, your channel will for sure pop off for a little bit, but people will get bored. That's
I
all it
also
is.
think
People will get bored.
I think there's actually a question around that, but just to kind of add to your point is I think that our community as well is way too small for people to be at each other's throats, because at some point you're going to bump into each other again, and then it's like you inherently just we're better together. That's the kind of the long and the short of what I
Hundred
want to
percent.
really want to say about it. But okay, so you bounced around a ton. You flip it and went to like 18 bajillion schools. You Dubai, back to South Africa, then gaming. Where did you start? How did you get started with it?
To be 100% honest with you, oh, I think it was on our PlayStation 2. Me and my brother would play a game called Spy versus Spy. It was this cute little indie game of where like you had these obstacle courses that you had to go around to get special items that you can use to either kill the other person. So like Spy versus Spy, you're one person trying to complete the objective against whoever you're playing with.
Hmm.
And I absolutely love that game. And my gaming in general started from like my brother. He was very, very into games and always like included me and like wanted to play with me. And that's kind of just where my love for gaming started.
Big
Then
brother,
it
I'm
moved.
assuming, older than
Yeah,
you.
yeah. My brother's 5 years older than me.
Okay, okay.
Um,
And you got other siblings, or is it
no,
just him?
just me and my brother. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah. But yeah, we went from playing on the PlayStation 2 to having a Wii to getting a PlayStation 3 and then playing COD with my dad and my brother. When we got Minecraft, that's essentially where my name Slimy Moose originated from.
Hmm.
And my brother went with Slippery Mango, and I wanted to be like my big brother, so I wanted to do something similar to the SM, so I went to Slimy Moose. So my brother was a big inspiration to just my gaming career in whole. Um, but yeah, it's my dad as well. He'd always play COD after having a hell of a day at work. He'd come home, we'd end up watching TV, eating something, and then after I'd sit and watch my dad just absolutely demolish dudes in COD. I remember the one day my dad raged so hard, I was just laughing at him. Oh my gosh, Shaven.
So
Nah, but
that's all console. When did you get started with PC though? When did you realize that this was the better platform? Let's just start there.
when I got a laptop, so when I started high school in Dubai, I started playing games with friends within my school, but it was like small games, like Among Us and stuff like that. And then I saw CS:GO, and I was like, "Huh, this seems like an interesting game. Let me try get into it." And I absolutely loved it. 2015, 16, I grinded that game. I got up to LEM and loved CS. I miss OG CS. Like, oh, that was my game nowadays. Oh, so I recently got into CS again, and I didn't even expect to have the same type of skills that I used to. But I used to no scope people like it was nothing. And I recently, since I got back into it, like I've been trying again. But people, hypo, I love the people's reactions when I no scope someone. Oh, get a whole lobby just roaring with an instant no scope headshot. Always beautiful. But yeah,
I think
gaming
you
was
dropped
also
off
just
because you played Valorant. I'm just saying.
dropped off because a lot of shit happened in my life from 2017 to I'd say 2019. I was just kind of surviving, and then once life was stable again, I started playing CS again. I got into a whole group. It was a whole Microsoft themed group. So we had Word, PowerPoint. I was OneNote. We had Excel. A whole bunch of friends, and we'd literally just jam till like 3 or 4 in the morning, chatting, listening to music. It was such a vibe. Honestly, such a vibe. And then I actually started out on CS. Funny enough, with streaming in COVID, my Twitch account is 5 years old because I wanted to start streaming in 2020. I think I streamed twice, and then I gave up because I was too self-conscious. Um, but I ended up picking it up again because someone within the community inspired me and said that like I'd be really good. I have the personality for it. So they gave me that type of confidence to be able to say, okay, let me try again. But yeah, Valor. I started jamming Valor when we properly got servers, I believe.
Mm.
Before that, I was jamming Fortnite, other little smaller games, Don't Starve, all of that.
Sorry, I've got a
Yeah.
gag reflex when someone says Fortnite, and I just want to throw up immediately.
Fortnite.
It's built in. I'm afraid. I hate BR. I hate BR with an absolute passion. And I think it was because of Apex as well. When that came out, I had really internet, and I would shoot and be like, "It's hitting him." But there's no damage. Like nothing's happening. Like kind of thing. Because those servers are like 20 tick as well. They're like really, really bad.
Yeah.
And I was on LTE, which made it even worse. So you've got a bit of packet loss mixed with a low tick rate. And you can literally hear it hitting the armor. You know that ting, ting, ting sound that it makes? And nothing was happening. So yeah, look, I'm a bit jaded. I never got into the PUBG sort of craze or phase either.
Neither did I. I didn't like PUBG too much, to be honest. I enjoyed Apex. Apex was a lot of fun. I think I got up to like plat until like just the ping difference started absolutely demolishing me. But yeah, it's these battle royale games. It's good, I say, because at the end of the day, we need more different types of games and genres and things that people can try
But then
out.
you've
Because
got
at the end of the
Tarkov.
day,
You don't need
oh,
that. If
true,
Tarkov was
true.
well coded and had an anti cheat, it would be the best shooter. I think that's fair to say.
I think, to be honest, CS was peak when it before just the whole CS2. CS was peak,
Yes.
and I mean that in the sense of if they just had a proper anti-cheat, then game would have been solid. Genuinely, they didn't have to make a whole CS2 to to revive the game. If they just added a proper anti-cheat, CS would have skyrocketed. I also hate the fact that they brought out CS2 to replace CS. Why not
Yes.
just release CS2, see if it fails? If it fails, wait, you still got CS2, no? I mean, CS, no?
Yeah, I
Like,
can tell you why they did that.
why?
Because when Source came out back in the day, it was so different from 1.6 mechanically that the competitive scene actually, it kind of did a flick flack between the two. So it was like, we doing 1.6 and we're getting to this like really peak like esports experience, WESG, IEM, like all of these like crazy tournaments and stuff. And then they brought out Source and people were like, oh yeah, new CS, let's do all of the tournaments on that before we even try it. And then it was really ass. And then they were like, went back to 1.6, and then Source kind of got patched, and then they kind of did Source, and they got stuck in the limbo between the two games. And so just to avoid that, if they're going to spend all that time developing a new game, they're going to force you into the new title, which is what Valve decided to do. Because, CSGO was very polished. I would say, however, I think the differences between 64 tick and 128 were vast. And the subtick, I watched a video, I think yesterday or the day before, I think it was yesterday, with Stewie 2K doing USP one taps, and when you watch it back, none of them looked like they were hitting, and he did 4 in a row that were like off. So it was just, and he was just sitting there afterwards like, why did any of that work, kind of vibe is how he even felt. He's where you sort of just look around for an excuse, like, I don't actually know what's going on here. His character model was like, literally, he was just like
huh?
I don't, okay, like kind of vibe, like that just happened kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think they tried something and they weren't willing to take the risk of it failing because of all the development time. I think
100%.
the inherent advantages, like volumetric smoke, is like a really nice one. The mollies,
I genuinely,
that sort
when
of
I
stuff.
saw the release and the teasers for CS2, I genuinely thought it was going to be decent. And I hoped and prayed that they'd put enough effort into it that when they first released it, and I understand that a lot of games nowadays get released and they're buggy and they don't test it properly because of the hype and how people like want it now. But I feel like companies need to realize if you're going to make a game in a rush state, yeah, sure, it might have hype around it. Look at something like GTA, for example. It still has hype around it. And how many years has it taken for them to have a release date? And they're still postponing it to this day. I'm not mad about the fact that they're postponing the release date, but at the end of the day, if they're putting all of this time and postponing into it, the game that they should be releasing shouldn't necessarily be buggy or have glitches and stuff like this. They're actually taking their time to put the meticulous work into it. Then shop. 100%. I would 100% support a company like that rather than a company that's kind of just like having a shot in the dark hoping something works. Obviously, I understand with creating games, it takes a lot of effort and that's not easy. At the end of the day, you look at something like Lethal Company or Repo that have one developer that has just a really good idea and executes it well. I know Repo's currently still adding content. Like that's the type of development I want to see within just the gaming development industry, because there's too much of, I feel like it's a world thing. I say it's a South African thing, but it's a world thing. We accept the bare minimum and accept the basics, that when a game comes out that it's actually exceptional, people either shit on it because they're too critical or they don't actually understand the true value of what has gone into it. Like, I really, really hope that GTA comes out and it isn't necessarily that way, because I haven't been that type of streamer to just jump on a wagon of, oh, this new game's being released, I'm gonna do that. I'll get the game, not necessarily play it on stream, because I myself, as like who I am, I don't want to be dealing with bugs and glitches. I like a game that runs smooth. That's just me.
Expedition
personally.
33. Good example.
Yeah. Exactly. But I just wish a lot more companies would not necessarily chase after the dollar and rather chase after the satisfaction of knowing that they made a good game. Because at the end of the day, if you make a good game, and people are recommending it, giving it good reviews and everything. People are gonna pay for it.
But
People
you
are
see,
going to.
you don't make money off selling a game like Counter-Strike 2. You make money off microtransactions, off of
No,
people
but see, that's the
trading
thing.
and buying
That's why,
skins. You
yeah.
see,
That's why CS has their whole community market and things, which is actually amazing. I don't understand why Valo hasn't done anything like this because it's genuinely such a good way for them to make money. Yeah, sure, CS is free, but if you look at something like Valo has an insane anti-cheat, yet people still cheat. You
it's
have
got an insanely invasive piece of sister software. Sorry, as you were.
no, true. No, you're not lying about that. That is true. That is very true. Um, but like you still have people that buy such skins, and they've only implemented now the whole gifting system, but it's only gifting for bundles, not like normal things within your shop, which I think is so stupid. They're missing such a big market by like then again, small indie gaming company. They make such good skins that are overpriced completely and just expect people to buy it.
No,
I
it's
will
because they
say
are
this
buying it.
over.
That's the
Yes,
problem. Is
yes,
people are
I will say this
supporting this kind of
over and
behavior.
over and over. Exactly. Why the fuck are we accepting bare minimum? Especially in Val. Val has gotten to a point where they're just reskinning things. And I mean that in the sense of they'll take a design, change some colors in it, change like smaller elements, and then be like, here, $50, thank you. Like, why? Why? If you put some effort into it, I think the last good gun that they made was the Kuranami. And before that, like my favorites would be Prelude and Kuranami, just because of how detailed they are and how their animations and the finishes are unique to their own. But that being said, yeah, they're just lazy sometimes. They're
But don't you
just
think?
lazy.
So on a question of Val, don't you think it's kind of lazy the way that they built the weapons to begin with? Like with regards to like Vandal or that sort of. I know very little about Valorant. I've played it probably 10 hours ever because some dude put me in a cocoon and I instantly lost the 1v1 and I was like, this is stupid, and I alt F4'd and uninstalled the game because I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in a tactical shooter. And even Tens has been complaining recently because side executes
100%.
look like rainbow vomit that's explosive is basically what
Okay.
you have in Valorant.
Mhm.
I don't like the Overwatchy kind of elements of it, to be very honest with you. It's what makes me not want to play it the most because most of my skill cap is seated behind like aim and stuff in a
Mhm.
personal capacity, so I just don't.
Mhm.
I have absolutely nothing for Valorant.
The thing with Valo is that I understand what they were trying to achieve, but at the same time, they want to add so much more. On top of that, Valor, I will always say this, Valor is ADHD CSGO. Got so many colors, so many different things going on, so many ultimates and abilities and that you need to be aware of. Like with going into the pro scene, I never understood how intricate and how much time and effort I'd have to put in to be able to get good at it.
Mm.
Um, and I mean that in the sense of like when you play casually, you don't look at things like ultimate orbs. So ultimate orbs are the progress bar of your ultimate ability. So for Sova specifically, my main, he must has his laser beam from his bow. Um,
Which
keeping an
makes
eye
so
on
much
things.
sense in of
Yeah,
itself. I mean, that's
I so sense. Yeah,
that's
100%.
perfect. Yes, there's no problems there.
No, but like it's gotten a unique and interesting twist to it that a lot of FPS shooters don't necessarily
You mean
have.
Overwatch?
But that's why I say I genuinely cannot tell you I hate Overwatch. I
It's
cannot
Rainbow
stand
Six Siege,
Overwatch.
and Overwatch had a baby,
I have
and then
never
and they took a
played
tiny,
Overwatch.
they took
No.
15% of CS's gunplay, and they put it in, and then they were like, instead of it being a spray pattern, we're gonna make it bloom as well. I was just like, dudes, how does anybody actually enjoy this game?
Precise
I
gameplay, my
don't
ass.
understand.
I swear. So I used to be an absolute demon at the Marshall, the Scout, if for your knowledge. They ended up changing the way certain guns shots because from their statistics and whatever evidence they've gathered or data, people are people are running gunning way too much. So they'll be running W keying, D keying, S keying, whatever, and just hit you in the head instantly, which isn't what it is supposed to be. But they up the guns so much and made certain guns so overpowered. So at this point in time, Phantom is so much better than Vandal. But the problem with the Phantom is that when you headshot someone, it's a 140 dink, whereas a Vandal, it's a straight up kill. So they have big problems with balancing, and I feel like they always realize it too late, or it's a choice to rather leave it and like have people go through that pain. But people will end up leaving. People will uninstall if they don't attend to that. Neon is probably the
Guilty.
most broken characters, and she is still, after how many nerfs, she is still broken. No one, you cannot track a Neon with an ult. I'm sorry, but if you can kill an honestly, you can kill a Neon that is full force running at you like an angry lesbian. I'm sorry, but no, you cannot. You cannot.
Interesting
It's
choice
just,
of words, but I'm here with Velo, I'll be honest. So moving on, you
Yeah.
obviously love Velo and tactical shooters. That's still your wheelhouse. How did you get started with streaming?
So with streaming, I didn't know about Twitch when I was growing up. I only found out about Twitch like in 2019. I started watching Tens and Kaide and all like the big American streamers. And then I started looking at South African streamers, and I realized that there are a few South African streamers that are like genuinely enjoying the games, and it was a great way for me to keep up to like what new games are coming out and what games have servers for us, or what games have the best servers for the optimized ping, or what. But I think the first streamer that I like properly spoke to that was South African was Dead Arx.
The book.
He honestly sweetest, kindest, and most genuine person I've ever met. Generally made streaming look easy and made it seem like such a amazing thing to do. Just like I've known Daddy for a while now, and I can say that he has just such an amazing personality for entertaining people. And I have tried striving to be like as good as Daddy. One day I will. But he was one of the main reasons as to why I started. And yeah, I really cannot tell you what was like the definitive moment of where I decided to like start streaming Valor specifically. I almost started with no cam whatsoever, a little headset microphone where people could barely like I'd say hi and my mic would cut out instantly. Like for those who've known me, for those who've been in my stream, you guys know if I'm energetic and I'm saying your name, I'm cutting out halfway through. It's just what it is. Um, but yeah, I've genuinely enjoyed creating a community where I feel safe. And I know if I feel safe, that certain people that appreciate what I'm trying to do and the entertainment that I'm trying to bring will stay for that. Um, and yeah, it may seem easy. It may seem like some people just have a knack for it, and some people do. Some people generally do. But I feel like there's a misconception with streaming. A lot of people think that it's like I just click live and do whatever, but there's etiquette to it. Like if you're really doing it to grow and to like make something out of yourself, like with what I'm doing full time, with my whole ADHD chaos just driven community, I've tried to strive my best to be all over the place because that's internally who I am. I will jump from one topic to the next. I'll jump from one game to the next. I'm constantly just doing something, constantly busy with something. I don't like just sitting still doing nothing. So I've really tried to build my community and have that reflect in that way. I've also had people like come to me with advice, and I'm always like, no matter what, for the people that have come to me and asked for me for advice, I'm always willing and always like there for people, because at the end of the day, like you said earlier, we have to stick together. And I do not believe that bringing down people who are around you and people who are within your community is the way. Um, at the end of the day, like, South Africa's community is very small, very, very small. And if you compare it to America, like, we don't have as many people. We don't.
No.
Um,
If you think
just
about
for,
it, in a respect of internet usage alone,
mm,
people that can actually watch streams, watch YouTube, that actually consume that kind of content, it's like hundreds of times more. It's actually it's like 230 something million or something out of the 330 million. It's only really the old people that are like, I'm
mm,
still watching my,
yeah.
ESPN or my cable kind of vibe. But if you're
Mhm.
gaming on anything, console, PC, you're probably going to watch on your phone, even, or whatever other
Mm.
medium you have for consuming that kind of content. So yeah, no, and yeah, in South Africa, I mean, I think, if I remember correctly, the biggest single group for any game was Dota 2, and it was about 17,000 on Facebook, which is like, which you go, you're for South Africa, right? That's one town, one city in like a Europe or America worth of players just for like Counter-Strike. Like our
Literally.
whole country is like what they get from one city. So
Hmm.
yeah, and that's a small city. It's not like a New York or
Mm.
somewhere in Cali or whatever the case is. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
we this big. That's the reality,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Well, but that's why I say, like, that's why any person that ever comes to me for help or anything, I'm always willing to help, because I know the that you have to do to get your channel and your community to where you want it to. It takes a while. It generally takes a while, especially like I tried figuring everything out myself. Every overlay, every emote and things I have sourced or done myself. Every bots that I implemented, I had to find out myself. Like, only when I started gaming with Kylo and them did he start helping me with my audio settings and properly helping me set up my OBS and stuff. Like, it genuinely can be very discouraging in the beginning when you don't necessarily have that help. And that's why I'm always like willing to help anyone, because I understand, like, it takes a lot to get good, and it takes a lot to get recognized, and it's another thing to do all of that and still be okay within your community, because at the end of the day, I feel like online we have people that will just people please and do whatever just to get a buck or to get a view. And I hate that type of mentality. If that's all you're doing it for, yes, like, I'm full time. I'm not necessarily doing it for the money. I'm doing it for the enjoyment and the creative outlet that it allows me. Um, Obviously, it's not wrong to do it any other way, but like, yeah, there's no real handbook on how to do this right. So any kind of help from anyone is always just nice, you know?
Yeah, I think especially in South Africa, it's the formulas for success are going to be super different to like what works for like the biggest streamer in the world, like Carsonet or something like that, is going to be very different
Hmm.
to what will work obviously in South Africa, because we have such a melting pot of cultures and personalities and stuff. So it's a nice segue into the next kind of question. What's the best experience and the worst experience you've had as a how long have you been full-time streaming? Let's just start there for a second.
Almost 2 years. Almost 2 years.
Almost
So
two
I
years
started
Okay.
in 2023 September,
Okay.
like properly. My best experience. Can't tell you what, I love going to Comic Con. I absolutely love going to Comic Con. Not for anything to do with the vendors or the events. I love meeting the people that I interact with on the daily. I love being able to put a face to the name, to the people that I'm speaking to. I love being able to connect with people on that type of level with the games and anime and all these like different interests. And that's what I enjoy about this the most. Like, being able to find like-minded people and it not necessarily be like a space of judgment, but be a space of like understanding different experiences and understanding like different opinions and like getting to know people. I rate my worst experience is I won't name names, but my worst experience was with someone that actually helped me getting into streaming. That gave me the confidence. It wasn't Daddy, but someone else, a female streamer within the community. She one day just started causing out of nowhere, and I'm not that type of person to go to other people and like scan it and gossip and like that. If I have a problem with you, I'm gonna go to you and I'm gonna speak to you about it. That's the type of person I am. I get it over with there and then you know where I stand and I know where you stand. And I basically went to this chick and I told her, listen, what you're doing is wrong. And I'm coming to you out of the goodness of our friendship and would just like to educate you because she was also younger. Understandably, we need to learn and go through hardship to be able to learn tough in life. And she basically just turned it around into I was bullying her, even though I went to her personally in her DMs and told her straight, not necessarily to anyone
Why you
that
bullying me?
wasn't involved.
Everybody asking, dude. Why you bullying me?
And I was just very shocked to see that the next day, like I hadn't even woken up yet, right? And I'm getting messages from people saying that this chick is live, busy like dragging my name through. So I go onto her live and I see that she's busy sharing DMs and sharing half of the story. And I will say this again and again and again. Yes, I can be a bitch. I know that. But the only time I am a bitch and the only time you will experience me being a bitch is when you've done something wrong to me. And that is the only time. I hate conflict. Growing up, I just despise it. Even today, when I try and deal with like emotional things or in situations where I'm uncomfortable, I struggle to speak. I'll just go straight to tears. Like, I don't like conflict at all. I'd rather speak to someone privately and get to know their side of the story because I also understand that like there's always three sides to the story: my side, her side, and the truth. At the end of the day, like I didn't go and publicize anything. I tried to keep everything private, not because I was being a for no reason, but because what they were doing was going completely against what their community was and what she built her community around. And I just found it very hypocritical. So I called her out on it. And it's not like I called her out of like in front of a whole people on her stream or on my stream. I ended up just leaving it. I told her straight that like just keep my name out your mouth, stay out of my community. Then we're sharp, easy peasy, happy life. And for a few years it was fine. Like for a year it was fine. And the said person started going around telling people that I don't f with them. And it's not like I was hiding it. I told her straight, I don't like you. I don't like the type of person you are being. And, you know, that's fine. It's not for me to change. It's that decision for you to make and you alone. I'm gonna live my life. You do you. And they're trying to organize a tourney, and at that time I had contacts within the casting industry within SA, and I was asked to cast this tourney. And it was really really meant to be something beautiful, and it just got turned into exposure and like sponsorship type of a thing. And I was told that if I don't post about the sponsorship, then my role would be replaced. And I was only one of the casters. She ended up telling another caster, no, it's perfectly fine, you don't need to post it, you can just post me. So there was a lot of times where she'd just be like two-faced for no reason. And like I said, I'm the type of person I appreciate communication. I appreciate being forward with me because then I know where you stand, you know where I stand. I am not that person that has a chip in my ass that can read your mind. I'm sorry, I didn't get that hardware update. Like, I can't read your mind. But yeah, it hasn't ruined my experience. It's just shown me that I need to be careful with certain people because even at the end of the day, when I try to keep my nose clean and keep things clean on my side, people will still take the piss out of you no matter what. If they can, they will. It's just what it is.
So yeah, that leads me. Actually, you've done a really good job to help me into one of the other questions that I've kind of been posing to everybody that's come on here, because what I it's I'm old. Let's start with that. Okay, I've been I've been playing Counter-Strike for like 23 years, which is basically like your whole life, I would assume. I mean,
Literally,
basically
I'm
at this.
23, dude.
Okay, there we go. So I started on like literal on 1.5 and stuff, and we pre-internet, like becoming even widely available. I mean, ADSL was like rare even back then. Most guys had like a 384 kilobit per second line,
Yeah.
and only a couple. I mean, CS 1.6 was actually very efficient, and it was one of the games we could actually play online. Had really good netcode and stuff for its day. Hashtag Quake 3 base and all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, we really landing was a huge part of the community. There were two LANs every month, Mayhem and Liberty LAN here in Johannesburg, that were Mayhem would seat between 250 and 300, and Liberty
Yeah.
LAN about 450 up to 500. We had Christmas LANs in the 550 kind of thing. We would have to lay out an extra set of tables because it would sell out. I'm not even kidding. Within about 2 days, it would be, the tickets would open and be sold out within that sort of time period. And then after that, like when they started doing the rage lands, they grew. I think the first one was like 700, then it was like 1,000, then 1,500, and like 2,500 man lands is just, it's a lot of BO as well. I've got to be honest, which is the part that I don't miss. I'll be very just kind of straight up with that. And having to sleep on weird things like bean bags and under desks and people on keyboards. I've literally seen homie come up off of his keyboard with a keycap on his face and like the imprints of the keys on it and stuff. I'm not even kidding. At Liberty Land, I became an admin, and the owner used to task me with taking videos of sleeping styles of people, like doing like worms on their chair and that kind of stuff. And the one guy snored so loud you could hear it across the entire hall, like kind of vibe. So it's like, Greg's sleeping. I can hear you, Greg. Greg, you know, if you ever see this, you know exactly who I'm talking about. That's all I'll do for exposure. But the really cool thing about that was, even when we had competitive events and stuff, there wasn't a lot of like, it was like rivalries, like there'd be a bit of smack talk and stuff, but people didn't take it so far that they would completely estrange themselves from other people. What was more important was you played the game, you know, more than anything else. That you just played the game was enough. Have we lost you, Slamoy?
Okay.
Oh, you there? Okay, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Just
I'm
a quick
my
internet
gosh.
break. It's fine.
There we go.
It's our first one,
Sorry.
but the South African internet had to strike at some point. So we did well. I mean, we got actually quite far before it kicked its ugly face. I'm looking at you, flipping through metal. Anyway, so at that time though, it was just more important that you played the game than even how good you were at the game, who you were friends with, or anything like that. It wasn't as important as just, hey, you play the game, I play the game, let's go. Hey, let's play. You play Dota, come, let's play games. You know, kind of we'd randomize teams so that skill caps were all over the place and stuff. And it wasn't really that important for a very long time until the online era really came into sort of full swing, and then things became uglier. And what I've seen now with the younger guys is a bit of a turning of a heel on it, which I think is a really good thing, because you could be competing against homie the one day, and a month later you could end up on the same team. And then what? You've treated this person like absolute trash, and now you've got to stand next to them and work together towards a common goal. It's like, it doesn't matter how good you are. I think a good example of that is like Frozen. When he was playing in Nixa, he was head and shoulders. He was like a 1.35 rating. His teammates were 1.1s, and they still came second because the other guys were playing together as a team and better than they were at that point in time. So, I mean, and that's just obviously evident in the result. But I think it's nice to kind of see that heel turn, but what I feel now is plaguing us in the gaming community, and I want to see your feeling about it, is identity politics. Things that people will say have an ideological standpoint about something, and they'll automatically write off anybody on the other side of the fence. They're not even willing to engage, have a discussion, sort of thing. How do you feel about how that plays out in the gaming industry?
I think a lot of it nowadays is ego. I feel like at the end of the day, we're playing pixels, we're playing games, and it should be fun. There's some people that take it too far, and some people that take it too personally. And I don't know. I can't definitively say like it's that. There's so many things to it. At the end of the day, I feel like a lot of people will bring their trauma and bring their day into a game and try and make themselves feel better about it by making someone else's day. And plus with the whole ego of things, the moment, like, I know in Valor as well, people have such egos, and I mean that in the sense of like you say one wrong thing, you'll get muted instantly. And that is just based off of people being sick and tired of people being toxic for no reason and people being stupid for no reason. Especially in the competitive scene, if you want to do well, if you want to like make a name for yourself, I do not think cheating or doing those types of things is going to do anything for you. I'm sorry, but cheating is the saddest thing ever. Everyone's out here trying to have fun. And man's just, I don't know. It's volatile.
#CS2.
It doesn't do anything for the community. I've literally had this conversation. Like, South Africa, the reason why South Africa doesn't get servers for a lot of the games is, for one, the community isn't big enough. Two, way too toxic. I'm sorry, but people take the piss out of the smallest things and turn it into the biggest things. With being in a team now, I strive my best to communicate when there's something wrong. And there was an incident recently where, like, I needed to speak to someone in my team, and I just needed the space to be able to sit and like write out what I was thinking before I said it. Because also, at the end of the day, we're human. We are mixed with emotions and hormones and all this bullshit. When you're put on a spot, you're gonna say something that you don't mean, or you're gonna bring in something that has absolutely no relation to it. And there's a lot of keyboard warriors. It's sad, but it's true. There's a lot of keyboard warriors. There's people that'll f up and then instantly go to sit, you're trash, plastic, whatever, just to play that mental game. And it's so stupid and it's so volatile. And I feel like these people don't actually realize what they're doing to the community, because so many people have uninstalled, like Valor specifically, like so many people have uninstalled because of toxic interactions they've had, or just people that are in ranks that they shouldn't be in. Like, recently I've started noticing that, like, the reason why I've been getting the numbers that I have been getting, I took like a break for a week or two last month. And I had people just straight up message me and say, I'm sorry, I was stream sniping you, I was Q sniping you, like, biggest apologies. And I didn't reply to any of it, because at the end of the day, like, nothing I say then and there is going to change the fact that they had done it. And it just allows me to have that extra knowledge to know that every time I am playing Valor, I might most likely get stream sniped or Q sniped. I don't personally like just resorting to that either. Like, just saying, this dude's cheating, this guy's whatever. I do not like that, because I have seen how it can kill someone's community. I used to watch someone that just constantly started complaining about how there's cheaters and there's boosted people, and no one wants to sit and watch that.
But
I'm
CS
sorry,
is
but
full of cheaters. I'm going to be real. CS2 right now is, we've seen it on the
100%.
highest level. It's an absolute joke. you've
Yep.
got the number one rated player in the world, like 30,000 plus sort of rating, and the dude's clearly hard cheating. So yeah, with CS, I've got to say, at the moment I am sus on everything like that I experience. I'll be real, because it's so easy and Gaben is useless. But anyway, Valo's a very different kettle of fish, I think, which makes
I
it
feel like
better from that perspective.
it's still the generic toxic little, I don't even know what word to use for it. You're always gonna have, no matter what game you play, you're always gonna have those people that just take the piss out of you, take their bad day out on you, and like we have to get to a point in a society. Like, I've known people within the community that have wanted to call out people, but for the fact of who these people are and what connections they have, they don't necessarily do it because they're scared that that person's gonna come after them. I hate that. I genuinely hate that. Someone needs to be called out, call them out.
That's what I mean
We
about
are
identity politics as well.
in
It's
such
intertwined
a
with that.
point of where if someone, so like earlier this year, there was a org in Valor that was caught in an official cheating. Shameless. I'm sorry, shameless. How the hell are you in an org playing in a competitive scene cheating? How, what message does that send out there to people that either look up to you or people that, want to get good at the game? What message does that send? And it boggles my mind that these people just don't think further than themselves. With
But
being in
that's why we
Dubai, I
always
feel like
say do it on LAN. So I actually did that. You'll enjoy this. When I was managing an MGO, I had a bright idea to just field as many teams as humanly possible. Don't have an org, come and pull in. We'll give you a color and a number and a jersey, and we'll send you to LAN. And there was this one kid that was like blistering online, and everybody's like, he's cheating. And there was some video evidence. His brother had taken a video and sent it to another org that he was a part of and stuff. And I said, it's fine. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Come and there's a spot in this one team. They're looking for a fifth. And his average score was like 5 for 17 or something stupid at the end of the LAN. And there's all the evidence you need. But that's the thing, is like, I think what you're basically saying is we need to take people out of being these shadow entities and bring them into the light, and then shine the light on the subject, and you're going to get the
100%.
truth out of the situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the last thing that I wanted to speak to you about was that Carlo and you and Layla, your friendship between the three of you, I was 1 foot out the door on the whole community, I'll be honest. And then I met you guys as youngsters and a couple of other guys from Counter-Strike. And I was just like, wait, there's actually hope. These people are being very, kind and genuine with one another. If this is what the youth looks like, because I'll be honest, a lot of the people from my generation, they could care less. They will absolutely walk over people to get any opportunity. The stuff that's been done to me, it's literally criminal. But I just don't have the effort to run after it. If people wanted that desperately, you can kind of take it for yourself.
100%.
That's where I was at with it, sort of thing. And then I met Carlo through Krim and through Tarkov and that kind of stuff, and I saw how you guys were interacting, and that's why I was like, you guys are coming on first, you're gonna be out the gate kind of thing. They both, Layla and Carlo, gave me their, like you say, there's three sides, your side, their side, and the truth. They've given me their sides of how you guys became friends, so I'd really like to hear it from your end as well, like, so we've got the full kind of like perspective.
So with Kylo, it was actually Dead Arcs. We ended up playing Lethal Company together. We were all in a lobby just running around, and like Kylo, there was just something about him. He said something very stupid and I laughed at it, and I was like, oh wait, I'm sticky with you. And like ever since, like Kylo's my best friend. He can't say anything that'll upset me. I know that he's always coming from a place of love and appreciation. Kylo has done nothing but always be there for me, and I appreciate that man so much. With how we met Layla, we got into GTA. So Kylo, like for a few weeks was playing GTA and was telling me how great it is and how like I'd absolutely love this, and like we could do the whitelisting process easy. He'd help me. And when we got into it, it was so much fun. The type of people I got to meet was generally really, really cool. The only problem with RP in general is people take shit way too seriously and way too personally. But I met Layla through the gang that I was in, Cartel. Carlo and I ended up joining Cartel, and Layla just popped in one day into the mech shop. She had this very cute little character with pink hair, whole pink outfit. So I knew she was like our girly pop from the beginning, and she was so cute. Her voice and everything. She was just, I could tell she was a sweetheart from the first time I met her. And I could see that Kylo and her were like hitting it off. They got really close. They were chatting for a while. And eventually, like, we'd end up the very first time Layla and I went and did a heist or something. I can't even, it was a store robbery. It was a store robbery. I remember now. We rock up, we steal the things. We didn't even have half of the shit that we needed. But we were like, no, we want to do a chase. Let's go. And Layla could not drive for shit. I could not drive for shit. And it was hilarious watching both of us like giggle our asses off trying to run away from the cops. I ended up driving into a wall, didn't have my safety belt on, so I just shot through the window. We ended up getting caught, and I still have the photo somewhere on my PC of me and Layla sitting in the jail cells, just with little peace signs and laughing our asses off while the police officer was in the background. But ever since then, like, I've always known Layla's such a sweetheart. She does anything and everything to help the people around her, and she's just genuinely such a kind soul. Like, I'm genuinely grateful for everything I've been through. I don't care about all the negativity, because at the end of the day, you're always going to get that. But I'm genuinely grateful for the genuine and kind, caring people that I've met along the way. And yeah, we're like-minded, but so different in the same way. We want the same things in the sense of we want a safe community to be able to play games and not have to worry about getting absolutely tuned for having a bad game. Or just like having people there for you when it goes wrong. Like, I know Kylo and we've called each other at unreasonable hours in the morning, just chatting, being there for each other because one of us is having a hard time. And same with Layla. Like, I ended up going to their place like a few weeks ago, and we just sat, smoked a joint, chilled, chat, and it's so nice to meet people where I can feel myself around, because when I grew up, I was a heavy people pleaser. So to be able to find people like them gave me the peace of mind that, I'm not a lost cause and I'm not necessarily the problem. At the end of the day, I don't necessarily need to change myself to fit to people's standards. The people who love me will love me for who I am. And they were the main ones to help me realize that. I'm eternally grateful to those two, honestly.
No, how wonderful. That's what I'm saying is I hadn't seen this happen like often from complete strangers. Most people, they grew up gaming together. They already had friendships from like a high school time or like a developmental sort of stage, and all of you met around like after school varsity, that sort of time, kind of timeline is basically the way that it was laid out. And I thought you and Carla were friends from high school because you were so comfortable with each other that it just came across like that. You know what I mean? Like, it just...
The thing is, like, we got to a point where people just straight up started saying, "Oh, you guys are dating." Like, we just feel that comfortable around each other that it seems like, oh yeah, there's more to it, but we're just honest and true to each other. It's nothing more than just genuine appreciation for each other and being there for each other. The amount of people that would come into our streams and be like, "Oh, you guys have great energy. Are you dating?" We've had it a lot. Like, genuinely over the past 2 years, we've had it a ton. And at this point, we just laugh it off because we realize, like, I tell this to Kyle all the time. No matter what, we need to realize that half of the time we're dealing with people that do not touch grass, that don't interact with people too much, and have the mindset that of if a female's trying to give you attention, they want more. So I will also say Kylo was like one of the first guy friends that treated me as a friend and not anything more. I've had a lot of friendships in the past where people are just trying to get into my pants or trying to get close to me to I don't know what. And Kylo was just the first one to say, I know you have a boyfriend. Like, I'm not going for you. I just want to be here as a friend. I like you as the person you are, and that's about it. And it was really refreshing and genuinely nice to know that he didn't see me as an object like a lot of dudes do. And especially being in the industry that I am, like the interactions that I get on the daily really makes me question the intelligence of the people we have sometimes. Genuinely, like some people just have way too much free time. I think I had an account the other day that came into my stream and its name was Slimy Moose Pygmy. If that isn't a scream for attention, I don't know what.
That's how you know
is.
you've made it. What do you mean? When
But
it was,
like,
when
no,
I had this happen.
why?
No, I had this happen to me in Battlefield 4 when we had the
Yeah.
resurgence right before 2042 launch. Some of my mates were like literally the best players in the country. They went over with SR Barbarians and they came third. They couldn't go under Team South Africa because MSSA rubbish, which I'm sure you've heard of. But yes, they literally were kind of victims of that kind of system. But they smashed. Even on like 180 ping, they still came third. So they were like really up there. So I learned Battlefield and stuff and from them. And I think on my BF4 account I have like 50 hours. Okay.
Yep.
Sort of thing. And homies recognized Wookiee Triple XL and they changed their names to Eve Tech Specials and Eve Tech Buys Guard, and they're trying to troll me until the end of the match when I'm like at the top of the scoreboard, and then I'm like, who's Eve Tech Specials now, biatch? Like kind of
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you know you've made it though, is when you get that kind of thing.
I
Then you
get
know. I've lived rent-free in some oaks heads for years. It's crazy. I put out, like, I had made a mistake about something with a guy about his PC and stuff because I had done his and his brother's machine, and I felt like something that he had said was unfair, but what I was remembering was working on his brother's PC. I hadn't worked on his PC like that. I'd helped him like remotely with stuff. And it's like, no, but I helped you. Why are you being... Because I was being defensive sort of thing. And I'd stuff that. Homie took my apology video and like cut a whole nother video for it sort of thing. And I was like, that's serious effort. Obviously, I'm famous enough that you feel the need to go and do that with my content. Knock yourself out, champ. You know, that's... Thanks, it's free views. I appreciate you, kind of vibe. But yeah, I think that's an indicator that you've made it. If
I know. It's just personally, as a female, like I understand, but also at the same time, it's like, why?
No, I
Like,
know.
did your
It's
mom and
so
dad not give you
depraved.
that much attention that you had to go and be like that? Because like being, I don't know if it's like this for other women as well. Just playing games as a woman, it can be so mentally taxing, mainly just because of that stigmatism or the stereotype of like women can't be good at games, and I hate that. I got into a pro team to be able to show people that like women can do what you do and better. Like, try me. But yeah, it's I've grown up always hating the idea of being treated like an object, and some people have. This one, like when I started streaming and when Kylo and I like first started gaming together, there was someone that just like popped out of the blue and started gaming with us on the regular. And then like it's not as if I was being flirtatious or anything. I was just being friendly. And this dude just fully confesses to Kylo that he's fallen madly in love with me. And the part that shook me the most was this man has a wife and kid. And spends more time playing games than actually looking for a job, which he, at that point in time, he got fired and was dealing with so much. And then he just adds all of that on top of it. It confused the out of me because I had no intention to be flirtatious or anything
wild.
like that.
If you
I
were
just
single,
was friendly.
but if you were
Like-
single, like I'm just processing that, and I've just got to interject there for a second.
A
If
wife with
he's-
a child.
Yo, you already made a commitment, dude. Like, kind of, yeah, yeah.
That's my point. That's my point. Like I understand, but at the same time, why are we objectifying something that isn't there? Like I understand a lot of people don't necessarily interact with people enough, especially with COVID. That COVID's fucked up a lot of things. Like I know in Japan, there's were jobs made for people to go to other people's houses and teach them how to smile. I understand our whole world was kind of rocked and shook from COVID
That's not a
times.
real job. You just made
No,
that up.
no, I dead ass,
Nah.
dead
I'm gonna
ass,
Google
dude.
that afterwards. Okay,
Go for it. I
we'll do a
promise
fact
you,
check.
they made jobs for people to go and teach them social skills because they just completely forgot about it.
It's
Like
rough, yeah.
I understand that that is slowly the society that we've gotten to,
Mm.
but why is it that we're just mistaking friendliness for flirtation because you can't keep it in your pants?
No,
That's like my
here's
one message.
here's the thing. I will, being a dude who's grown up, especially pre-regulated internet and stuff. I
Mhm.
think that media in general, series, movies, that sort of stuff, has done a lot of damage in objectifying sort of people in general, men and women.
Mm.
And for men, it's a much more physical thing than it is an emotional thing, I would
Mm.
say. In general, I've got 8 cousins and only one of them is a girl, and she throws a harder punch than me, and she works at a gun range. Okay, just to put that in perspective. So, and she's tough. She's like a proper Afrikaanse boeremeisje, and she will kick like genuinely because she's trained in techniques with weapons. She can cause damage. She's more like manly than a lot of the people that I know because of that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
for guys, it is a kind of a torturous thing where you like, Twitter is a great example. When it went over to Elon Musk, the desensitization of the platform. I'm just scrolling, like looking for like news on esports or my favorite players in the scene and other streamers and stuff. And the next thing, there's like basically full nude, like sort of vibes on the timeline. So I will say that we're getting another Vumatel moment. Hold on. Vumatel, please.
Okay, wait. There we go.
We're back.
Sorry, we're back.
It's fine. I shouted at him for you, so it worked. But it's no. We're gonna get Vumatel. I'm literally gonna write you guys an angry letter by the end of this podcast. Probably I'll get ChatGPT to do it for me and make it overly winded. There we go. We're back. Okay.
We're back.
So I think from a physical perspective, and it's something that I appreciate with the female streamers that I have around that are like, I would say you're a great example, Paranoid Pixie, Chloe ZA, there's, I mean, Mama Succubus, there's actually, I've got, like, I wish Emma Dilemma would stream. I think you agree with that
right?
as well. Emma would be flipping excellent. But I really appreciate that, where like, oh, I can come into your stream and it's not just like about your physical appearance. The one chick had green hot pants and she was streaming the game onto her hot pants, so you could basically see the shape of her ass, and it's a green screen on her. What is that? Please tell me what is going on there, or put that stuff in a category that I can completely avoid, so that because I don't want to see that. I'll be very honest with you. The moment I go into someone's stream and they just assets out, I'm not interested, because that's what your stream is about. It's not about your personality. It's not about any substance. It's a case of you're streaming a consequence of your birth. You've been given that just through your genetics, and that's not content. I don't know.
You need to realize.
Do you think that's an unfair thing to say, or do you think that
it isn't? It isn't at all, because at the end of the day, when you're doing something like streaming, being fake and using a part of yourself that'll age and won't be the same is just a money grab in my eyes. I'm someone that highly believes in putting yourself first, putting your personality first, and if people don't like that, then fine, that's cool. Continue doing you though. Why are we living our lives up to the standards of others, first of all? Second of all, it has been statistically proven that with Twitch specifically, I don't know the stats on the other streaming platforms. It has been statistically proven that male streamers will get more subs, more donors, more financial, how do I say, compensation for their time. Whereas with women, if you don't have the personality to entertain and you only have your looks, you're gonna fall back on one thing and one thing alone. And that's what I've seen with a lot of American streamers, a lot of chicks that are very dry and like dull. They'll just resort to OnlyFans straight away. And personally, I don't necessarily want to build my community around that because I know first and foremost that first of all, looks fade. That never stays. So even if you are trying to build a community based on your looks, if you're not doing things like brand deals with beauty products and like fitness things, then that's not going to work for you. It's not. If you're going to like use your appearance and your appearance alone to get money, you're going to resort to selling your dignity and selling off photos of yourself. And I don't say this to any ill will to anyone that does do it. At the end of the day, this is just my own personal experience, my own opinion. Opinions are valid. It doesn't mean that they are fact and true, but I don't see, for me personally, how it would benefit me. Obviously, financially, sure, but I'm not at that point in my life where I need to resort to something like that. I've been in so many different industries. Like I used to work at a strip club. It's not what you think. I was a shooter girl. And I've seen the brutal firsthand abusiveness to women within that type of industry. So my view on that whole thing is negative based on what I've experienced. So I see it as just selling a part of yourself and you're selling your dignity just to make a buck. And I will not personally ever go that way, but I also do not hate people that do go that way because at the end of the day, the world is a volatile place. If you can make money to survive, do it. If you need it to the point where like it is the difference between having a roof over your head and your belly full to being on the street and having absolutely nothing, it really makes the difference. So it's difficult, but it's understandable at the same time. I don't necessarily think that chicks should just straight fall onto having to do that.
Boomer! We apologize for this break in transmission. Vumentel, please. We had you there for a second. I think I'm gonna have to cut these out at this point.
Are we back? Are we back?
We're back. There we go. We got you.
Okay, what was the last thing you heard?
Basically you were saying that you find it like, hello? Are we gone again? Dude, they literally can't be this bad.
I generally, I don't know what
And
the
you're
f is
back
happening with my internet now.
And you're back again.
Yeah,
But I think to summarize what you were saying was you find it not preferable but understandable. If someone goes down that kind of route, you would say, make something of yourself personality wise, I think especially what's most upsetting to me with it is it's kind of sad. I saw this with someone that's stunning and absolutely beautiful girl, and she went and she got plastic surgery because she felt inferior to other kind of people that she was comparing herself to, and it blew my mind that even like a porcelain doll, absolutely model. Like I even showed her pictures to my mom and she's like, she's so beautiful. And I was like, I know. And the standards that we have from Hollywood and all of these beauty standards, like, I'll be honest, keeping up with the Kardashians is just basically filth in that sort of vein.
It's just westernized culture. It's so stupid and so volatile.
Yeah. It's sad for me to see people put their value centers only in that and not, you can, like, I think, I'm just trying to pull a streamer out from memory sort of thing who doesn't sort of have those assets, but that like is successful or like pick a dude like Summit 1G. He's not a good looking guy. Let's be honest. He's not like an uber handsome dude, but he's one of the biggest FPS gamers in the world because people are there to enjoy the game with 1G. He's got a good skill cap. He's really entertaining. He's got good insights into the game. You don't, and in the age of this digital field that we find ourselves in, you can do low code platforms, you can do design, you can do video editing skill. I mean, that's how I've kept myself going for the better part of like 7 years now, kind of thing, is on video editing and stuff. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't be arrogant and say I'm all that entertaining or anything to that effect, but you get the point. But you get the point. Is it's sad to see, like you say, people kind of just, I'm just going to kind of take this easy route in a way and degrade myself. And then it's always out there. The internet has the longest memory. Once you've put that stuff out there, that's that. If you want to have kids later, they're going to have to deal with that. Your husband or wife one day is going to have to deal with that. Like it's heartbreaking in a way. To see
Unfortunately.
that unfold.
And see,
like
the thing is, like what you said, with American culture specifically, this is one content creator, Bunny Blue. She went around and stuffed 1,000 dudes, right? That, I cannot imagine the physical and mental shit that she had just put herself through. That's like, I'm sorry, that's not humanly normal, if I may say it that way. It's a complete attention grab, money grab. And at the end of the day, for something like that, regardless if it's good publicity or if it's bad publicity, her name's still getting out there, and it just enables it. And I feel like it just allows people to get away and to do more stupid shit. And the sad thing is, people will support it. People will be there. People will watch it. And it gives them the fuel to be like, oh, wait, we can do more, you know? Like, that was a great idea. It got thousands of views, even though it was probably the most stupidest thing ever and will tarnish that person's reputation for life. But still, they're talking about them. Still getting moolah.
Yeah, I think it's the love of money that leads you down that kind of to that level as well. But I think, you know, I will say for men in general, the ones that financially support these sorts of things, I'm equally disappointed in them, because you are, you know, ultimately we there's actually serious, pretty much confirmed scientific evidence that we have single origin ancestry. And so everybody in a biological sense is actually technically a brother or a sister in that sort of, you know, and I think of it like that in a spiritual sort of sense as well. And you're turning that person into that object. That's the whole problem. And it's ruining your relationships with people and stuff.
I'm sorry,
it's ruining your
porn
life.
is free. Why are people paying for it? I'm genuinely sorry,
even
but
supporting
why?
it at all, even consuming
100%.
it should be,
100%.
you know, like I say, it's really hard, but like, I understand guys get bombarded with it in all sorts of areas. You know, the jump from a movie or YouTube onto Pornhub is very quick, you know, kind of thing. Like, oh, I like the way this chick looks. Let me go and see if there's, you know, content or whatever the case is. That being
said, though, the first chat room and the first type of like site that was ever on the internet ever was a porn site. Did you know that?
Yeah. No. Well, most of the internet is porn. Which is like the really, I would say the really bad part of it.
How do I say? Pornhub paused Google and every single like search browser in the span of 10 years. But that's the thing. That type of industry has constantly been something that is around and something that is enabled. And I feel like, especially today, there's too much sexualization and just making things uncomfortable, not just for women. I'm speaking about everyone. Like, porn overall has just taken over in so many aspects, and it's becoming more and more and more okay to accept these bad habits. And at what point do we say like enough is enough? Yes, Goooood culture. Like, it's a joke for most people, but some people take that seriously.
Yeah.
Like,
no, and I think because there's other people joking about it, it makes the closet guys like more comfortable with it as well. And I just feel sorry for people because it's such a trap, because it's going to be so much more fulfilling to build a long-term relationship with someone and ultimately get married and have that kind of commitment between yourself and someone else.
But that also destroys it. The whole industry destroys that image and that whole perfect life kind of a thing, because I've seen so many people that are in happy lives, have wives and children, that will end up getting addiction to something like this, and it completely ruins their life. Their wife will leave them, take their kids, and then they're just left alone. So it's so volatile for people to say it's okay, and like, here you go, here's all the access to everything that you could possibly want, and then also hate on it at the same time. You can't have both. Either not have it and keep saying that it's bad and you shouldn't, then have it and contradict yourself,
Yeah.
like, constantly. It I feel like that's just one of the biggest problems that we have right now, the over sexualization in games, in movies, and everything.
Yeah.
It's
No, I
really
fully
gotten
agree with
bad.
that. I
Like, I
fully agree with
agree,
that.
be proud with your sexualization, but don't make it change the way that you view the world.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, is it's so hard when that's the consistent messaging that you're consuming. That's what's gonna, there's a very simple way of summing this up. You can't put Debbie Does Dallas in the DVD player and expect Bambi to come up on the screen. That's just the
100%.
reality. Is what you
Yeah.
put in is what's going to come out at the end of the
Mhm.
day. Yeah, and it's sad, I think, for both sides. I think the impacts of the industry, we've seen that where people have, been committing suicide like en masse. If you look at the average actors from that are in these industries, they off themselves in their early to late 20s. I mean, which is,
Is that even the drug abuse between them as well? Like,
yeah,
how
like,
many
oh, it's crazy, dude.
insane and amazing, like, talented artists or actors that end up getting into that type of life and then ending it all? That, like, Heath Ledger, for example, like, he was insane, beautiful man, and had such entertainment skills. He was a genuinely amazing actor, but unfortunately, like, life happens at the end of the day. But it's also, like I said, as a society, we enable these things. We make it seem okay to these people that, like, it's fine to do it because everyone in Hollywood does it. Why? Why is that the norm?
Yeah. No, well, I think the uncovering of like the P. Diddy files and all of that sort of stuff has been an eye opener into the whole space, right? Yeah,
Genuinely,
no, that was,
genuinely.
but I appreciate like other celebrities and stuff. Like two examples that always pop into mind is Billie Eilish was a crazy one for me. I was like, young, talented, successful, got everything, heavy porn addiction was
Mm.
ruining her life. Terry Crews, family man,
He's also a big man.
yeah,
He's
Mr.
a big man.
AGT, Mr.
I was
Successful movie
literally,
actor.
yeah.
And it even ruined it's not like just for the audience, it's not like we're sitting here judging and saying that we that you're unrecoverable or you're far past kind of forgivable or anything like that. But I think more just an encouragement to kind of come back to reality, because it can happen to anybody.
At the end of the day, we're human. We make mistakes. It's just about how we deal with it and how we move on with our lives to be able to correct it. At the end of the day, I feel like a lot of people have just gotten used to, like, not necessarily accepting blame, but understanding when they're in the wrong type of a thing.
Mm.
And if someone points it out, then it's coming more from a place of hurt than actually wanting to help. And there's so much that just goes into it. It's like you said, we're not here sitting on pedestals judging. It's just, as a society, we're failing each other by not pointing it out when it is a problem and letting it get worse to the point where, when it is worse, what can you do about it?
And it's actually unkind and unloving, because you don't really care about that person to actually say something. And George Django had this amazing testimony on this when he was still hanging out with Logan Paul a lot. They were at a party, and there was a chick that wanted to get cocaine off of a dude. She didn't have money, and she offered, sexual services in trade, but like openly in front of like 10 people kind of thing. And George was like, you don't have to do that. You are worth a lot more than that. And she totally freaked out on him at the time. And a week later, he found out she had booked herself into a rehabilitation center. So you never know when like reaching out to someone, as long as it's from a place of love, I think that's where it counts like the most.
100%. So like one thing, like even with my relationship with Gray, like I learned very early on from my parents that communication is the best thing for you as a person. No one knows what's going on in your mind, and no one knows what goes behind closed doors, especially if you're closed off and you don't necessarily like tell people about what's going on in your life. We need to stop that. Genuinely, we need to stop that. And I understand you don't need to speak about your feelings. You can just say, I'm having a day. It's just one of those days, Just one of those days. And you make a joke about it, you move on. And like, we should just be more there for each other and understand every conversation that I go into when I know it's going to be uncomfortable and I'm calling someone out for it. The first thing I say is, listen, I want to have a conversation with you. It's not out of a place of hurt or resentment or hate. I just want you to understand where I'm coming from, out of a place of love and wanting to be in a better space. That is the first thing I'll always say, because if you start off with that type of tone, they understand that, okay, they're not here to judge me. They're just here to help. Because it's also, I hate dealing with on the phones. You cannot tell someone's tone from a text message.
Oh,
and
amen,
I think
sister.
I fought with my mum over this because like one day we're just talking about something random and I told her like I didn't like it and she turned it into a whole fight and I was like, no, listen, it wasn't meant to be that way. And just the conversation, a simple little conversation of, I'm so sorry, that wasn't how I intended it to come out, but inevitably you perceived it that way, so I do apologize on my part. I'm tired of people taking blame but then turning it on the person. Just take the blame, say I was in the wrong, I will try be better. We are getting into an age.
I think that's a natural reaction though that we just have as humans. Is it even if you read the Bible right at the beginning, right? When God comes into the garden and he goes to Adam, he says, why did you eat the fruit? And he immediately goes, it was Eve, it was her fault, it wasn't me, she's the woman. That's just our natural sort of instinct when we arrive at that sort of point, is to just placate blame.
It's bad. At the end of the day, like I've been able to learn a lot about myself in the past few months with being in this pro team, mainly with coping. Coping is probably a plague in our days right now, in our age, because people would rather accept excuses than recognize what they did wrong and accept it and do something about it. There's too many people saying, oh yeah, I could have done this better, but do they actually put the effort into trying to do better? No. It's up to them and up to people to realize that the only time that you are going to change and the only time that you can change is you have to make that decision for yourself. I went through Valo thinking it's my teammates and it can't be me, but when I joined the pro team, I was serious about the fact that I was ass. I don't know about the game. Yes, I've been playing for like a few years now, but I am not at the level where I would want to be to compete competitively. So I started looking at myself, looking at what I do, looking how I use my util and where my positioning and how I play my game, and not necessarily about what's going on around me. Because I feel like a lot of people nowadays also just resort to rather pointing fingers out around them than to point a finger at themselves and say, okay, I need to learn something this time.
Yeah, self-accountability is definitely on a decline, we could say, with a lot of things. But this has been a different tangent, completely different from the other tangents that I've gone on with your cohorts. But I think overwhelmingly a positive one. Thank you so much for all of your time to come on the podcast for Who is Slimeway. I hope you guys all have a better insight into why these main rats are in the main rat category so early. You guys went up a lot of notches very quickly. I'll be real. And a lot of it was just how you handled your friendships amongst each other and treated each other. It's just been so refreshing. In a context of the kind of greater community and my experience there, in which, as I've said, I'm very old. I've seen a lot of stuff, so it's been an absolute pleasure. Now,
thank you so much for having me.
It's your chance to do a bit of plugging, a bit of where can they find you? You're gonna send me your socials. I'm gonna link them all down in the description below. But where should people follow you?
So on my Twitch, slimy underscore moose on Twitch, slimy moose on Twitter, and then slimay moose on Instagram. My TikTok is also, I think, slimy moose. Yeah.
Did someone really have slimy moose on Instagram?
Yes, they did.
Amazing.
I truly couldn't get it, so I had to go with the maniki nickname that they gave me, slimay moose.
That's. I thought you were trying to do just a French, you were trying to be a croissant on the Instagram.
Best nickname that has ever been created for me, Slamé Museo Lyle. Thank you so much, King.
No, yeah, that is a top one. Yeah, so like I said, if you guys are looking for her socials will be in the comments down below. I would highly suggest her streams, especially for single player games like Skyrim. They genuinely one of the funniest individuals I think on the Twitch spheres in South Africa. So thank you so much for coming, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you have, please do hit us up with a like and subscribe, and we will see you on the flip side.